I'm a fucking idiot. But that wasn't always the case. See, I used to be sharp, but now I forget words as I say them. I forget thoughts as I think them. Theoretically, I am the smartest and most educated version of myself I have ever been, but my brain feels so slow. And everyone says that it is social media's fault. But is that true? So I've been looking at the science and the studies for a while now, and unsurprisingly, it's all relatively new. One of the earliest ones I could find, specifically talking about social media and short form video, was from 2023. Now this study took 60 people and gave them all a lexical decision-making task. All that means is they wanted to tell which words are real and which words are fake. Stuck them in front of a computer, words pop on the screen. If the word is a real word, they press the letter N. If the word isn't a real word, they press the letter M. Super simple, super easy. Now what they also measured and tested for is their perspective memory. Now perspective memory is our ability to hold things in our brains while doing something else. So while they were doing this task, they had to remember to press the keys Q, W, or E if the words blue, green, or purple came onto screen. All 60 people did this test, had a 10-minute break, did the tests again. Now during this break, they were split into 4 groups. One group did nothing for the 10 minutes. This was the control group. One group scrolled through Twitter or X. One group watched long-form YouTube videos, and one group scrolled TikTok. The lexical decision-making was unaffected, but the perspective memory was so much worse of the group who scrolled TikTok after scrolling TikTok. Now the structure of this experiment was repeated in 2025 by a different team at a different university. Exactly the same tasks, 10-minute break, same tasks. Except this time they took 45 people and split them into 3 groups. Again, control group, but one group that could scroll either Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, or TikToks as much as they wanted. And then a third group that within the whole 10 minutes could only scroll 10 times. What they found was that again, the perspective memory of the group that could scroll as much as they wanted was so much worse. But the group that could only scroll 10 times was actually better. But perspective memory isn't really enough to make us change our entire lives and our entire routines. Sure, when I walk through a door frame, I'm more likely to forget why I went into that room. Annoying, yeah, but end of the world, no. The next 2 studies, a little bit scarier. Another group of researchers took people and they gave them a bunch of tests, some to tell their demographics, their cognitive abilities, their how likely they already were to use the internet, all these kind of things. Then they split them into 2 groups. One group could read any ebook that they wanted. The other group scrolled on social media. And after a whole 30 minutes, they gave them a bunch of other tests. Now, the 2 that are the most worrying to me, the 2 results, is one, is that they found that their type 2 thinking, so the critical analytical thinking, was much worse after scrolling social media, and that they're more likely to believe fake negative news. Now, the final study that I found that kind of relates was not actually about social media. It was about problematic usage of the internet. The researchers define this as usage of the internet that causes a loss of control and adverse consequences, such as feelings of distress and functional impairment in daily life. I don't know about you, but that kind of sums up my doom scrolling habit to a T. It compared the brain scans of people with problematic usage of the internet and people without it. And what it found was that there are 3 specific parts of the brain that was smaller, specifically had less grey matter in people who had problematic usage of the internet. It's not saying if you have this problematic usage, it causes you to have less grey matter. It could be the other way around. It could be having less grey matter in these 3 spots causes you to have problematic uses of the internet. It could be that there are third or fourth or fifth factors that we don't know about that they didn't study for that are affecting it. This is not a causational relationship, but I'm not gonna lie, if there is even a chance that using social media and having a problematic internet usage is making my brain smaller, like physically smaller, I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with that at all. I'm fucking done. I'm done. It's been 30 days and my brain's not fixed. Like, don't get me wrong, I feel so much better. My screen time is like 45 minutes a day, and unless I'm doing something like filming, it goes up to 3 hours, but I'm using a monitor app, like I'm not scrolling. I get so much shit done. It's incredible. But again, brain's not fixed. I thought this was just gonna be a video where I was like, guys, I deleted social media and now I feel better and everything is good and I'm fixed. But it's not. Don't get me wrong. I did delete social media and I do feel better. But if we compare where I was a month ago to like where I was at a high school when I probably felt the sharpest, I'm about 50% of the way there. And that's not enough. I did find within the first couple of weeks, I was just pulling out my phone. No apps to go on, just 1 second I was doing something. The next second, boom, phone's in front of me, already opened. I don't think I could fix my brain without deleting it, but again, we need something more. So the first thing I do when I have a question, like how do I fix my brain outside of deleting social media, I go to places or sources that have already gathered a variety of sources. So this can look like Wikipedia. Quite often this looks like other YouTubers.
Breathe about 10% less air.
Methylene blue.
Iodine-rich seaweed.
TB 500.
The hashtag butthole sunning.
So in this case, I went straight to the science, and I'm not going to go as in-depth as I did with the last studies, but all of the links will be in the description. If you sleep more or less than like 6 to 8 hours a day, your brain gets slower and your cognitive abilities decline. Exercise makes you fucking smarter. Meditation helps as well, I found. But I think that was more to do with the lack of stress which causes brain fog, as opposed to like meditation helps make you like your brain smarter, but fuck. I'm stressed, so we're gonna meditate. The one I really loved, there was one study where they got a bunch of like 70 to 80-year-olds and taught them 3 different things. 2 to 3 hours of learning each subject every single week for 12 weeks. And these were wildly different subjects. They were learning Spanish and photography and drawing and iPad operations. And what they found is the cognitive ability tests that they gave them, not only did they perform so much higher than their peers and themselves pre-test during the tests and directly after the learning, but also up to a year afterwards. So I'm gonna be learning things over the next 30 days as well. They did 3 things, they were all retired and I have a job, so I'm gonna do 2 things. And I'm probably not gonna put 3 hours a week into it, but I'm gonna try and study one thing at least every day. Now the first thing I'm going to learn is all about propaganda. That's just because it's the next video and we're killing 2 birds with 1 stone here. The other thing I'm going to learn is guitar. This fucking thing has been in my apartment for like 3 years and I don't know how to play anything on it. I also imagine it's wildly out of tune. This isn't going to be like, guys, I learned guitar in 30 days video. That's not what this video is about. We're just using it to study my brain. Now the last thing we're going to do is, I didn't find this in a study, but what I realized is even though I wasn't scrolling, I was on screens all the time. As I was doing my makeup, I would put a video on, I'd go to work and look at a screen because that's my job. And then I would come home and I would relax by watching something. So the next 30 days, screens are going to be tools. No random YouTube, no anime, no films. If I want to relax, I'll read a fucking book or I don't know, go for a fucking walk. That's gonna suck. I'm gonna test this in a variety of ways. One is I'm gonna just keep track of like my mood and how sharp I generally feel every single day to see if there's any changes. I'm gonna do 2 self-assessment cognition scores, like an altered cognition assessment, a fatigue assessment. 10 questions, all out of 10, I want to get the lowest numbers possible. I've also then going to do 4 cognitive assessments, which are like tests I do online. Again, I'll link them in the description. Now I'll put all the stats onto a spreadsheet, but I'm gonna hide the columns each day just because I want to combat as much bias as possible, even though because it's just me doing this, that's realistically gonna be impossible. So this challenge starts tomorrow to see if I can actually fix my brain. So I just finished my first assessments. On the fatigue scale, I got 68 out of 100. On the altered cognition scale, I got 70, so that's not great. Cognitive ability tests. These are all out of 100% individually. Abstract reasoning, 60%. Spatial reasoning, 70%. Numerical reasoning, 50%, which is the one that killed me because when I was doing my exams in like high school and in my GCSEs, I never even had to study for my maths tests. I did it all in my head and was fine. But verbal reasoning, 88%. So that one was a pass at least. So yeah. Hopefully I can fucking fix this. Okay, so that's week 1 done. I think I'm on day 8 at the moment. And those first 3 days, I had them off for work and they were super easy. I was going to the gym every morning. I was putting hours into each subject. It was novel, it was new, it was fun. I was still like opening up YouTube, and I still kind of do that. Like I just open up the homepage on instinct, but I'm not watching anything. So I think that's just a habit I need to break. It is tough to, like when I get home, to not immediately start watching something. But as soon as I get past that hurdle, it's fun. I'm having a great time. Even if I'm too tired to study, I'll just read or do something else. And it's great. As soon as I had to go back to work though, the subjects were fine. The exercising, that became really difficult. And I knew that if something didn't change, then that would stop. And I feel like that's quite an important component to this. But this isn't a fitness challenge. I'm not trying to get super ripped. I'm trying to do enough movement to get my brain working. So I figure instead of taking the bus straight out of work, I can walk for 45 minutes up like 4 or 5 flights of stairs and up a hill to get a train instead. And that should be enough movement to get, you know, my neurons firing. What I found is the hardest part is when I'm trying to eat. Like when I sit down with my dinner, the only thing I want to do is watch something. Just stick on like a YouTube video, doesn't matter what, or some anime. That's all I want to do, and that is the hardest part. So I just finished the brain training for the brain tests from this week, and I feel like I did worse. Like I feel like they were harder, but I might just be an idiot or having an off day, who knows. I will say, as soon as I recorded last week's segment, those following 3 days afterwards, my mental health was atrocious. Like I'd wake up and just be pissed or upset. And I don't know if it's what I was doing. Like, I don't know if it's the exercise or the meditation. I don't know what. I do also have a complicated relationship with happiness, so it could also just be that. And normally, when I have these bouts of awful mental health, or even when I'm just quite tired, my brain stops working. But that hasn't really happened this week. Even when I hated the world and hated my life and myself and everything and everyone, my brain still functioned. I really still just want to watch something. Like, I come home, especially during mealtime, still, if I'm tired, I'm like, I just want to put on an episode of an anime or some YouTube videos. I haven't yet. That temptation is still there. I will say I'm opening the YouTube homepage and Crunchyroll less than I was last week. So that's definitely good. And the one thing I've really noticed is I've become more in tune with my own tiredness, which sounds weird, and I wasn't really expecting this. But before, when I was tired, like I might just put on one more episode or one more video and stay up that extra 20 minutes, which could often lead to staying up an extra 40 minutes to an hour. But now, because I'm not doing this, if I'm tired, I'm just tired. And if I really can't do anything, I'll just kind of go to bed. So I've really become aware of the ebbs and flows of the day. And I will say this tiredness isn't like before. Before, when I was tired, it was in my bones. This is like general end of the day tiredness. Week 3 is over. I can't remember the test results I got for week 1 and 2, but I'm pretty sure I'm doing better. And I know this, or think this, because I don't feel like a fucking idiot. Even when my brain slowed down because I was tired, normally I would have days where I just felt well and truly fucking stupid. And I haven't had that this week. And my mood has certainly improved, which is good. Now the meditation, I know the point is to kind of like let your mind wander and then bring it back. And then let your mind wander and then bring it back. But this week, I've kind of, sit down to meditate. My mind wanders. And then it wanders a little bit more. And then it goes on a whole ass fucking adventure you could probably make a trilogy of movies out of. And then my 10-minute timer goes off. Up until this point, I've been so good at not watching movies or TV shows or anime or YouTube. But I caved. I watched The Intern and it was really fucking good. Like, not the film is fine. It's cute, it's fun, it's wholesome. I have a couple of notes on that, but the experience of sitting down and watching a film, like, I fucking love movies, bro. I thought this whole experience was gonna like separate me from that. And I do think I watched too many beforehand, but I do fucking love them. We're done. The 30 days is up and I feel so much better, especially compared to just deleting social media. I don't think I could have gotten here without deleting social media, but it's night and day compared to the two. My mood has improved, my focus has improved, I feel sharper and smarter. And it's not that on the good days I feel like loads better, it's that those good days are so much more often. And in the last 10 days, the only time I felt like a useless fucking lump, when I was like forgetting my words and all of this, I was really fucking hungover. So there was a reason for it. And I bet you're wondering to yourself, how did your propaganda study go? Well, you have to wait until the next video for that one, but the guitar I can show you. Did I learn any good chords? No, not really. Cool strumming patterns? No. Did I learn any songs? Honestly, not really. But I think I am better than I was 30 days ago, so fuck yeah, dude. The tests. I haven't looked at the tests. I have them here. Oh shit. So for the scales, we've like halved our scores, and this one was the one that was like golf, so that's a good thing. And then verbal reasoning went down, but everything else went up by like 30%. That's incredible. Fuck yeah, dude. So it works. This is as scientific as I can get by myself, so for me, it works. I know you're not watching this video to watch some random twat on the internet just kind of optimize the shit out of her life for 30 days. You want to know how to apply it to your own life. And honestly, this was a lot. My social life suffered. I had less fun. So if you've got to do something, we need that reset perfect. But if not, implement them in smaller doses. Studies have shown that just being mindful and meditative while you do things like chores can help. Walking like 10 minutes a day improves brain function. We can just get off the bus like 1 or 2 stops earlier on our way to work and walk, read a book. You don't have to create some big self-curriculum. Listen to a fucking podcast, you know what I'm saying?